anything that has to do with the interest of the consumer is what we are after. So it is easy for me to eat, to digest, to drink every law that relates to power sector, and most especially the area where consumers is involved, the right of the consumer, the obligation of the consumer, the operational systems and the law that guide the operations of the discos and all other stakeholders. Everything about the privatization is hogwash, lopsided. So the people that started, they did not start on a very solid foundation. So it gives room for, what we call a roller coaster kind of event to take place. So we don't even know the difference between PACN and privatized discos anymore. But what we want you to do for us is that, are your people ready? He said they are ready for whatever we want to do. Okay, just get us pots, get us stove, get us lantern. The day we gave them that ultimatum, once it lapsed, just load your men, your indigents, and meet us at their head office in Ibadan. We are coming, but before we come, please talk to Ikeja Electric to avoid it, because we are coming to invade their office. We are not going to fight. We are not going to do anything. All we needed is that people will pack their pot, their stove, and everything in front of their office. We will be cooking there. We will be dancing. We will be doing everything, but nobody will enter. Nobody will go out. Once you go in, forget it. The day I hear say they don't bring light for election, at that time you will come out from that office. That's where I have problem. That's where my adrenaline shot up when people started dropping on my wall, in my email, in the wall of the group. Many of our members too were victims when the capping issue supposed to take effect, and we are expecting that by the following month the bills will reflect capping. And we discovered that instead of the bill to even reflect estimated billing, it is even reflecting. We don't know how they come about it. People are just collecting 34,000, 45,000, 76,000. There was one of our members that collected 76,000.
How many bedrooms, sir?
Just only 3 bedrooms.
Well, it's another very wonderful opportunity in Lagos, Nigeria today, as we meet a very wonderful man who is fighting a very wonderful cause for the people, especially in the area of energy and power. You will recall that a couple of weeks back, we brought to your awareness the challenges Nigerians face, especially as regard power. And we were able to investigate one of the undertaking office, which is Abule Taylor undertaking office, under one Fred Udogbo. And because we did that specifically because some 51 LCDAs contested his regime, especially the obnoxious regime of the kind of bills people pay, the obnoxious bills, and the regime of metering and all that. And last year, June specifically, and July, 51 LCDs around the Ojokoro area and Agbado campaigned, the protests, they took their time in the rain. They took a protest from their area down to Alausa to report some very hanky-panky activities from that undertaking office. And after the video, whereby we spoke to some communities, the Tesiwaju communities, Bajomo, and some other 5 communities around that area, there were little adjustments, but it didn't stop there. We are now hearing about the outrageous bill. People are collecting more than 100% of what they were collecting before, and the pain is just going on. It's as if there's no law, there is no justice in that system. Again, we also learned that Mr. Fred whom a lot of them campaigned that they should remove from that office at Abule Taylor, has been reinstated. The powers that be in Alausa didn't remove him. Today, we are here with the national coordinator of the organization called All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum in Nigeria. That is in the person of Comrade Adeola Samuel. It has not been easy to meet him. We have been trying to pin him down in the last 2 months, but because he's busy, he's a national coordinator. But we want to thank his aides that today they made it happen somewhere in his office in Lagos after several proposals to meet him. And we're going to be discussing some of these issues, especially the issue about capping and some other laws that protect the right of the consumer against the service provider. So we're totally honored for giving us this chance. We know you're a very busy man, and we thank you for creating the time to speak with us. We've been trying to reach you in the last 2 months since this campaign, and because of the kind of crisis that people are going through in Lagos, not just in Lagos, in some other discos. We've heard about the Ikeja Electric in Ijesa land, the one that even a poet had to release an album. I think it's Awikonko, release an album to protest the high-handedness there. Right now, we're also talking about the Ikeja Electric City and some of the things they are doing. So, sir, first and foremost, can we know you and how challenging is your office and what is the purpose of this wonderful forum, sir?
My name is Comrade Adeola Samuel Ilori. I'm the National Coordinator of All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum. This forum came to be at the inceptions of the privatizations of power sectors issue, and at the beginning, which is exactly February 13, 2014. You know, it's funny how this forum comes to be as a result of 3 weeks without light in my area where I live then in Okera
there.
Yes. And funny enough, it comes to be that we have endured and we have trying to, you know, normally as usual, and which is, I believe, by virtue of our advocacy, the things are changing. That very day, I just decided that, look, this thing is no longer in the hand of the government. Before we say our sometimes like it's government and who are the government, we are the. This is a privatized organization. They can't continue to treat us as if we are still under government. Number one, I believe at that point in time that we're supposed to have a notice that even if we are not going to have light, we should have a notice. If at the end of the day we have light, we don't have light, they didn't give us. They have to tell us exactly what is happening to this light and when are they going to restore. We cannot continue to do like that. So I just gather the boys in the area. In fact, if I look at my phone, I will show you the first pictures of that protest. You know, like we normally say, many Nigerians don't like, you know, liberation. They want it a la carte. During that period when we ventured to go out, that was the day Fashola supposed to visit Okera and open something there at that local government. And he will discover that some landlady or landlord was there. Come back, they are calling their children. But because they said that they can't go and face the governor is coming, and they said no, this is the best time to do it, so that the governors and the government would know if they want to shoot. I will be in the front, let them shoot me first, but I trust that they will not shoot anything. Why? Because we have done banner. Even period to that time, we have done some paper. We pasted it around that, you know, Okera undertaking of it, and we took off the protest. Luckily enough, it was the governor's entourage that even led us to the place. Yes, the police escort and everybody. We were at the back of them, and they were going and they were pointing at us, because at that time, even now, what I know is that our advocacies have played a lot of role in improving both the service and issues of bill. And at that time, it's a common occurrence for people not to have light for 1 week, for 1 month, and nobody will care about them.
Even for 1 year.
Even if I know of a place that they have been without light for 4 years. You understand? So at the end of the day, we run that protest, and then my office is still at Alagbole side. As I got to Omole there, then I received a call from Ikeja Electric that they want to see us, they want to see me and my group members at their head office so that we can rub minds together. So I now told them, well, I'm already on my way to the office, but tomorrow will be another day. So we went there and we discussed. We were made to know some certain things. God bless Yewande, who happened to be their business unit manager at that point in time. very cerebral person and open. So he discussed with us and with one Mrs. Ezeolise.
The one is a male or a female?
She's a female. Okay. One is a female, and Mrs. Ezeolise happened to be their PRO at that point in time. And we had meeting and we laid down our rule and we let them realize that we can no longer condone what happened now. And I think a day or thereabout, the light was restored back to us. So that was how the journey of all electricity consumer protection started, and till today, to the glory of God, we have had opportunity of meeting with the ministers. We have had opportunity of being participant with policy making, either with NERC or with the power ministry. Example is their so-called, I call it so-called because if time permit, I will mention why I call it so-called. The so-called power recovery program, which was initiated by Babatunde Fashola as the power minister there in 2017 to 2021. So even though it was launched or it was finally made last 2 years, 2018, even NERC, luckily, we are not strange to capping. We are part and parcels of capping.
How do you mean, sir?
We are part of the group.
Because I was going to talk about capping, because capping is the new orientation that a lot of majority of the users.
Why I said we are not strange to capping. We are not strange to capping in the sense that by virtues of our activities, by virtue of what we do or what we have been doing, and the task that we have given to NERC, we wrote to them for synergy, so that we can be able to work together and make sure that every effort they are making also will receive resounding, obedience.
And a corresponding action.
Yes. So luckily they agreed. We wrote to them, and I met with the Commissioner Consumer Affairs, Dr. Moses Arigu, and in his office he told us that the reason why they have been delaying in accepting or looking at our paper was that there are so many civil society organizations or the so-called advocacy group that were but eventually they discover that they are just for whatever they have or what they want to to gain from it, and they consider them as unserious kind of a distraction. So at the end of the day, he agreed for us to be part of whatever they are doing. So some of the time they send documents to us. They send policy document. That's why I said we are part and parcels of capping. When they want to bring capping, they wrote to us. I have the copy online in my emails, and all the other members too has it. And they tell us that we should give them part of the consultation they want to do, the kind of method they can use to bring capping. And luckily enough, the method we gave, the all things are documented, was what they adopted in the present capping issue. So that is why we were so vociferous when we see that some discos are not following that directive, are still just issuing bills to people as at what they want to do.
Now before we go to the issue of capping properly, let me ask you, what are the challenges of running this wonderful organization? I mean, what are the challenges of running this organization, and can you tell us the stage by stage and how you've been able to amass, general interest, general orientation? How are you able to coordinate it nationally?
Well, let's say that when God gives you a vision, He will give you direction, and eventually the fulfillment also will be that of Him. You understand? So when this group started, it is more or less like a solo effort. Yet, by that time, the people that I was dealing with never believed that I was the only one doing that job at that point in time, because my voice alone is enough. My understanding of what it ought to be, since the group primarily supposed to be consumer advocacy, policy implementations and all that, anything that has to do with the interest of the consumer is what we are after. So it is easy for me to eat, to digest, to drink every law that relates to power sector, and most especially the area where consumers is involved, the right of the consumer, the obligation of the consumer, the operational systems and the law that guide the operations of the discos and all other stakeholders. So in doing that, because from the inceptions of the privatization, there are so many loopholes that give room for any serious advocacy group to latch on. Everything about the privatization is hogwash, lopsided. So the people that started, they did not start on a very solid foundation. So it gives room for, what we call a roller coaster kind of event to take place. So we don't even know the difference between PACN and privatized discourse anymore. In fact, more or less by virtues of the people's experience and their voices, they even started praising the PACN era beyond that of the privatized.
You are right, sir.
So it gives room. So we just latch on the loopholes that is on, and to the glory of God, I have a platform which is the radio platform given by my friend Moyo Oyatogun while we were at 101.5 FM. So every Tuesday I have opportunity of enlightening people, of bringing them to their knowledge, their obligations and their right, and also trying to reach out to the discourse and the regulatory body about what is lacking and what they are not doing. In 2016 February 3rd, when they increased the tariff, in which they call cost reflective tariff, excuse me, we were able to look at the pros and the cons, the merit and the demerit as at that point in time, vis-a-vis the provisions of the law in accordance with section 76, subsection 2 paragraph B of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act. And we see that it's more or less that this so-called increase has been shoved on us. So we look at it
that the populace.
Yes, because I can recollect then as at then Babatunde Raji Fashola SAN said that it's a bitter pill that we all ought to swallow, regardless of the process that ought to be before such cost reflective tariff can be. In the law, I think section 72 or thereabout that talks about MITO in Electric Power Sector Reform, it stated that it is about 5 years interval before any other this thing can be there. So we remember very well that as at the time they come in, the increase in electricity tariff was mooted, even though they call it minor review. So we believe that such minor review ought not to have erred another major review when there is no evidence of improvement in service. Because the major point of that section that I quoted the other time is that it is true that the DISCO can ask for increase in electricity tariff, but the proviso is that, number one, there must be a reason for it. One of the reasons is that they want to recoup the money they have spent in improving the service to the people. Again, another reason is that there must have been a considerable feasible improvement in service delivery. So these two scenarios was not in place. So at what point in time do you think that they deserve any increase in tariff? So that led us to, many activities, including going to court with, because it was my friend Toluwani that went to court to challenge it. He got an injunction to the point that they should not increase, and Nigerians don't obey court order. Yet they want to benefit from the judicial system. So at the end of the day, they did not obey that injunction. They went ahead all the way, because that injunction was given on May 28, 2015. They went ahead all the way to go and increase on February 3rd, 2016. So at the end of the day, we were in court. Toluwani got my number from no person I don't know, and at the end of the day he got a call to me and said, this fight is a collective fight, let us join hands together with my group. And that was how, luckily for us too, we were able to connect with Nigerian Labour Congress. Good man, Comrade Ayuba Waba, take no time in joining us in that fight. And I think this morning was there. I saw the communique we issued at that point in time. At the meeting. Yes, while we were fighting for the issue of electricity tariff together. You can see. So
that's January. That's a communique issued at the end of the stakeholders meeting on the proposed increment of electricity tariff on 28 January 2016 in Lagos.
Exactly. So we have synergy with them, and we were both carried along in doing everything, including protests. He detailed the vice president of NLC to collaborate with us here and do some protest against the disco. And at the end of the day, June 13, 2016, we got judgment from the Ikoyi High Court by Justice Mohammed Idris, now a Court of Appeal judge, and he pronounced that the increase is illegal, is ultra-vires, is wicked, and on like that, and he asked that it should be reversed. But we can all see that whether the judgment was obeyed or not, even though they appeal, and at the end of the day, they went for a state of executions, and they could not get state of execution, and they went to appeal. That was how we are, rolling in. This increase was done in 2016, and by Maito said that it should be 5 years, even though by the words of the minister at that point in time said increase should be 10 years. That increase, because he called it that it's a cost reflective increase.
Cost reflective?
Yes, that it should be 10 years. But let us even take it that it is the word of the mouth of the minister against the stated word in the act that guide their operation. So we stay by that 5 years. Now, when they are now talking about increase recently, we want to know why is it justified, because we are not yet even 5 years into the last one that they increase. So those are the activities we have engaged in all electricity consumer protection forum. But chief of it was that we really organize what we call summit. We call it power sector stakeholder summit between consumers and power sector stakeholders, and we have been inviting as many as possible. That last year has the ministers in it, representative. We have 2 commissioners from NERC. We have all the discos invited, Ibadan, Eko, Ikeja, and all other ones that are very close. All of them, including Oba. You mentioned the issue of Ijesa case the other time.
Ibadan Electric.
Ibadan Electric and Ijesa issue, for they were in darkness for 3.5 months. It will not surprise you, and it will not be something of exaggeration to let you know that it is this group, All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum, that bailed Ijesa out of that darkness.
You mean those 2 lawyers are from this group? The two lawyers that
they only went to court to challenge the propriety of putting them in darkness, which we call illegal disconnection. And it is only even for their own house or for their own vicinity, because if you read the judgment, you will see that it is for their own vicinity and their area, not even for the whole Ijesa people. Now what I'm saying is that darkness that they put them in, that lasted 3.5 months, was our effort at All Electricity Consumer Protection Forum that bailed them out. I will tell you how. I don't know that a place like that has been in darkness and in running battle with Ibadan Electric. I am from Ilesha, I mean, surprisingly.
Coincidentally.
But I was not aware. The only thing I got to hear was I just be reading on the newspaper that the governor is meeting with this man, Mr. Sunday Odunton, and all the Ilesha, indigenous and Ijesha's, people, including the Obas. And I now read that, okay, Ibadan Electric said that before they can restore light, the Ilesha people must pay 200 million naira for them, for the damage the students that protested caused in their substation. So they were there, they were still dilly-dallying. The Oba said they don't have money. The Ibadan Electric people said, well, they cannot pay money to repair what the people have destroyed. They have to go abroad to go and do this. This thing was going on dilly-dallying, and surprisingly, we did not even know. Until I received a call from the secretary to the Oba of Ilesha. I didn't even know how he got my number as well. And immediately he said that, and he said that we will need us. And I said, oh, sir, You mean Kabiyesi want us to intervene?
Ọwá Òbòkun.
Yes, Ọwá Òbòkun. Imperial Majesty Ọba Adékúnlé Aromọláran.
The great Ọwá Òbòkun of Ijesa.
I'm telling you that, and I said, but governor has intervened. The whole Oba have intervened. Everybody, even the whole Ijesa indigenes or eminence, they have intervened. So
both in diaspora.
Yes. What happened? Why is it that I said, well, they have heard about our exploit, and that they want to see whether we can. And I tell Kabiyesi that anytime he need us, anytime we are ready, we should come. And luckily enough, I create time and I call the Lagos State coordinator and one other, and we have Osun State chapter. So the Osun State state coordinator and the zonal coordinator, we made them to know that we are coming. That Oba have invited us, and we went there. And to the glory of God, we met with the Oba, and we told Oba, look, Aluta has advanced, and so we are not going to call people and say we no go gree. What will we do if you agree with us, sir? I can bet you that we may not raise a finger before they restore the light, but that they will not restore that light, forget it. They know all Electricity Consumer Protection Forum as a no-nonsense group to any errors committed by any disco, and same way we deal with any individuals or consumers that did any untoward activity. So we can assure you, in fact, the Oba could not believe that. Why are these small boys talking as if they are? No, it's a fact. It's something that you can verify. Yep. And I told them, I said, sir, all we need is this. In our own case, this is our process of approaching them. We will write to them. We will give them ultimatum. But what we want you to do for us is that, are your people ready? He said they are ready for whatever we want to do. Okay, just get us pots, get us stove, get us lantern. The day we gave them that ultimatum, once it lapsed, just load your men, your indigenes, and meet us at their head office in Ibadan. If they can be making billions in their offices, and the people you put in darkness for 3.5 months, in the artisans and everybody, you need to see the way they were talking to us when we went to Ijesa, and somebody introduced us that these are the people that they don't even know, and they said these are the people that Oba has invited from Lagos, that they were looking at us that these people did something that governor has done. We just, we laugh about it and we let it be. So at the end of the day, when we get to Lagos, we just call our legal advisor, Oga, put up a paper, let us send it to Ikeja Electric, send it to the commissioner of police, because commissioner of police ma gba àlejò. So that you will not be caught on our way and say, these are hoodlums or people that are disturbing the peace of the people. We are coming, but before we come, please talk to Ibadan Electric to avoid it, because we are coming to invade their office. We are not going to fight. We are not going to do anything. All we needed is that people will pack their pot, their stove and everything in front of their office. We will be cooking there, we will be dancing, we will be doing everything, but nobody will enter, nobody will go out. Once you go in, forget it. The day I hear say they don't bring light for election, at that time you will come out from that office. Yes, sir. So to cut the long story short,
incredible, sir.
Incredible. No, because he will make peaceful what have you, inevitable will make violent what have you, and we don't want to go violent. We just want a systemic protest. That is what we call a systemic protest.
Correct the anomalies.
Correct the anomalies. Yes. So if you can work and be making billions, and you forget an entire community, village, a town that has some adjoining towns and villages that are building wall, you need to see. We slept there overnight. The whole place was like, what we call it, age-long kind of area.
Stone age darkness.
Age kind of darkness. And we now realize that, so for 3.5 months, these people have been going through this. So we wrote them.
For the Oba to be concerned, that means it has gone beyond normal.
Governors, Oyetola, go Google it, you will hear it there. Oyetola called of them to meeting in his office. There was no headway. Ibadan Electric still insisting until they pay them 200 million. Imagine. So at the end of the day, we wrote to them. We wrote to the commissioner of police. The letter we wrote to the commissioner of police, we copied them. The letter we wrote to Ibadan Electric, we copied commissioner of police. So we now tell to them, Oba, give us that 7 days. Let's see how it look like. During that 7 days, they are supposed to be Ileya coming that very period. So we will have an holiday of 2 days. So we have planned everything that it's supposed back to by Monday. We will hit Ibadan. You will not believe that before Monday, the same instrument they claim that has been destroyed, the same, but what we did, we were smarter than them. Every area they claim that the instrument are destroyed, we went there. We took pictures. We interact with the security people. The one in Okeomiru, we saw it that, okay, the place, the building was thought was vandalized, but we didn't see anything destroyed in the transformer or the transmission. We went to the one in Imo. We saw it working. In fact, the people inside there, they are even having light. The only people on the street that doesn't have light.
Yes.
We saw it. They were even having light. So, and they said this thing have been destroyed. So that strengthens us. So we systematically interrogate those people, and they give us information that we needed. So we depart. So by the time we get to Lagos, we started sharing those pictures and those this thing. And the group that I was in then, which happened to be the power perspective, this thing that has or the anchor or housed almost all the power that be in power sector. I sent the picture there that this thing, we all know what is it, but we have sent letter to Ikeja Electric. If Ikeja Electric like, let them fulfill what we have said. So they move down there. They renovate the same building that they are waiting for 200 million. Some of the instruments they felt that one thing is about that Okeomiru is that I have known Okeomiru substation since I was a kid. So when I got there, I discovered that nothing has changed. The same old pattern, the same old instrument. Yes. So it was that issue that brought that place to renovation. If you get to that place now, they are painted it yellow and this thing. That was what brought about the innovation of that place. When they took over 4 or 5 years back, there was nothing improvement in it. And at the end of the day, all the instruments that they needed to change that have been moribund, they changed it. And by the grace of God, by that Monday, that would have been the expiration of our ultimatum. We just got a call that we don't get light, you. Do you understand? So
it was deliberate. They just wanted to punish the people. It was nothing.
I can say it that
deliberate anger,
because they listed so many things that got lost. They said they are meter. When you say people say you should give them meter, you say you don't have meter. You now still claim that in the vandalized office of Okeomiru, that meters were taken away, monies were taken away. So, but we said, well, we are not here to count take inventory of whatever it is. All we want is that, number one, it is even illegal for you to put a whole city, a whole community in that, not to talk of a whole city that has an adjoint community. It is illegal, because illegal disconnection still remain a criminal offense for individual, not to talk of when you now go and do mass disconnection. So that was how we settle the issue of Ikeja Electric and Ilesha people. To the glory of God, it is all Electricity Consumer Protection Forum that brought that light back to them. That was why it is easy for Oba of Ijesa to send two of his highest chiefs to our summit last year. The pictures are there. Do you understand? To our summit last year. This is one we did in 2018. The one we did, this is what we did in 2018. Yeah. That is Genco woman there, the executive secretary, Genco, Dr. Joy Ogaji, that is him. This is Edmond Sunday Odunton. This is Professor Yemi Oke, the man of energy in Unilag. Okay. Yeah, that's the same there. This is Deputy Provost, NUJ. That was 2018. That of 2019 is more colorful than this, because 2 commissioners has to come down of NERC. That was when Dr. Arigu said that when the representative of the minister came, he was like, is this thing sponsored or individual? And we told him, this is a self-sponsored program. They can't sponsor us because of the kind of stand that we take.
Yes, because of your policy.
It's very hard for them to say they want. Low, we get some peanut from all these people, because we wrote to them. We asked them to be our sponsor, but they could not be our sponsor. But they said this is the peanut they have to support us. You understand? So, but we thank God we did it. We would have been in preparation for this year if not for COVID-19, because we cannot sit down. If you see the crowd of that last year, in fact, they themselves, the minister's representative was like, are you sure? that this is a self-sponsor, and we tell yes. That was when he made the promise that he would tell the minister there is no way they will not be able to support us in every step that we are taking. So those have been the journey so far. In issue of finance, we finance ourselves. We have members that is running to about 200 or more, and what we do is to pay registration fee. And at the end of the day, each and every member also will pay 1,000 naira monthly due. That was what we used to finance, including the blessing of God upon my life, so that at least this menace will go away. So that's all that we have been doing so far.
So, in fact, this is a very wonderful, fantastic, and a very good journey. I want to let you know that a lot of Nigerians are not really happy, especially with the billing system of the discos. The discos have made life so very miserable for Nigerians. Recently, we did an investigation on Ojokoro area, Ikeja Electric, and some people, because some of the landlords there have always made noise. They've campaigned that say they increase their money. Last year they were fighting. They said the minister said they should not. They said the minister said they should not pay any money until they give them meter. And that campaign went on for like 2 months. They went to Alausa. There was no response. They even went to the National Assembly, and they said the people in the National Assembly were having breakfast with national leader of the party that did it. You can imagine adults, 51 CDAs, adults, they chartered a lag bus. Many people, old people, aged people. The video is on our channel, and they said, okay, we are not going to pay. Then all of them were talking about outrageous bill. Then later they started paying again, but in a situation whereby 2-bedroom flat is getting like 50,000 in a month, and a lot of, even a house with just 8 rooms getting like 100,000 plus. I mean, a lot of obnoxious allegations. And when we went out 2 months ago, there was campaign from different communities, Bajomo, Itesiwaju, Lerato. It has been a sort of. So, sir, what do you think is the problem, and how is the organization intervening in all this? Because we are still coming to capping. I think capping is a strategy that you want to use to put everything straight. But how will the organization be able to help this kind of people?
Well, as many people that have got in touch with us, fortunately and unfortunately, the radio program that I feature in really help some people. Help them in the sense that not only that I enlighten them, I also tell them what they should do. Because the major issue and problem people contest with today in the power sector is the issue of obnoxious, extraneous, that kind of a vague estimated billing. Yep. I call it vague because when something is not in tandem with reality, it becomes vague.
It's more than that, sir. It's even very horrible, criminal. It's deadly.
Yes,
and
so what we have been doing so far so good is that we enlighten them. We tell them what the law says. We tell them what the obligation says. We have legal department in this organization. Okay. We have lawyers that take responsibility for the areas of pronouncement as far as it's concerned. So we tell them, educate people, what it is. We have done protest. We have done rally. We have also done roadshow, just to make sure that we enlighten sensitizations of the people, especially on estimated billing and the issue that has to do with no meter, no payment. We did that severally.
What was it all about? This no meter, no payment? Because at the time they said, Minister Fashola said people should not pay if they are not metered. And that was a popular campaign last year. Most of the communities were even putting banners at gates that don't pay anybody if there's no meter. So, but eventually Fashola appears not to be too straightforward, because as a minister you expect him to be straightforward. He was a governor in this Lagos state and a lot of people respect him. I personally started having a bad feeling about him when the issue of power, because at the time he now said again that it has to be expensive. So, sir, this issue of no meter, no payment, how are you able to handle it, and how do you think Nigerians?
Let me say that, like I said before,
yes,
the pronouncement of a minister cannot override the provisions of the law. So he might have said that out of, you know, enthusiasm or the pressure that he himself engaged with. I remember while we were having meeting together in Abuja over this power sector recovery program, while he was presenting it to us, I challenged him and I told him, sir, this ministry supposed to be the hub of what we call renewable energy. But sir, today, even in the budget, we read that 144 million naira have been budgeted for diesels and repairs of generators. It's absurd. Do you understand? So, because in the power sector recovery program that we are presenting to us, which covered 2017 to 2021, the issue of renewable energy was mentioned there. The part, the money they want to borrow from the World Bank is to do some certain repair, provide some equipment, both the transmissions and distribution and blah blah. And also renewable energy also was paramount, that how they can help in people migrating to renewable energy. And so that was why the question came out. But what I'm trying to say is this: if the minister said this and people check the law and it's not in tandem, it will be difficult to be implemented. Are you getting my point? Yeah. So for that purpose, I would say that the minister must have said what he said. You understand? To make sure that, to see that, oh, okay, this is it. But if I have to insist on the interpretations of the provisions of the Schedule 20 OCs of Electric Power Sector Reform Act, which have to do with meter reading, cash collections, and the rest. There are some provisions in that law that indicate and show or infer that consumers ought not to be put on estimation.
That's interesting. That's interesting, sir.
Because when you read some of the section.
But why is these laws? Why are they not popular? Why are they not in the public domain?
No, let me finish. When you read some of the sections that talk about meter reading, billing, and all the rest, he never mentioned. There was no any straight statement that says that it must be based on estimation. When the law says that if your meter cannot be read and you are not at home, you must call them or write to them when they can meet you at home to read meter. There was nothing in meter reading, cash collections, or cash flow as far as electricity discos are concerned that has to do with estimated. But they pick that estimation from another sections of the law, Electric Power Sector Reform Act. For example, Section 63 of that law says that every discos and power sector stakeholder must obey and must follow the directive that issued by NERC or any order given by them. So, in the wisdom of NERC, and the NERC is empowered to make such order and directive. That is why it was NERC that gave them the estimated billing methodology. So since it's a pronouncement from NERC, it's a directive order from NERC, which has been, more or less be part of the act by virtue of that Section 63. There's nothing anybody can do about it. That is where I have problem with discos that have flagrantly or systematically disobey the capping order. That's where I have problem. That's where my adrenaline shot up when people started dropping on my wall, in my email, in the wall of the group. Many of our members too were victims when the capping issue supposed to take effect, and we are expecting that by the following month the bills will reflect capping, and we discover that instead of the bill to even reflect estimated billing, he is even reflecting, we don't know how they come about it. People are just collecting 34,000, 45,000, 76,000. There was one of our members that collected 76,000.
How many bedrooms, sir?
Just only 3 bedrooms.
For a month?
Yes, for a month.
That is very.
Which before even that when.
Is road grease, sir.
Yeah, well.
It looks road grease, sir.
I just believe that.
Because I don't think it's on 33.
Maybe it's a way of testing the patience of the consumer, or maybe because they are just lapping on the fact that many consumers become vulnerable.
Or ignorant.
No, even if you are not ignorant, you can still become vulnerable. The problem we have in this country is Nigerians. Nigerians, if you call them for, I used to say it everly, if you call them for protest, they will say, then we are waiting. Yes, we are waiting. Let the day comes. That was when their grandmother's dog will give birth and there will be naming ceremony.
Yes, sir.
That was when they will now realize that there is something they're supposed to do. And the major words that they use that get me hungry easily is that we are with you in the spirit. As if we that we are outside there, we are ghosts. Something that concerns all of us. So those are the things that are, you see, Yoruba will say, they have seen that we are not coherent. They are saying that we are not coordinated. We can only agonize. You understand?
You can synchronize.
We are not. Our agitating is not based on belief. Our agitation is not based on resolved. We only felt that let's talk. Let's see whether they will do something. Let's talk. That was why the lines of the people that fight for the consumer are being streamlined only primarily to all electricity consumer protection forum. It is only for today. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating, because we are getting filler from as far as Anambra State. As at day before yesterday, the man in Anambra State just told me on WhatsApp that our letter will soon be replied. You know why? They wrote to us asking us for help. That EDC is almost killing them. Obosi community, for example, in Anambra State, that's Obosi local government, and not do anything anymore. That they have heard about our group and what we have done. I can show it to you if my phone is there. The letter we sent to them too, I can show it to you to tell them that this is our condition of coming in and be part of you, and also establish our group over there, which I know everybody knows about. All disco stakeholders knows about it. So to me, it is the Nigerian people that is causing this thing. Because we are not cohesive.
The apathy of the people.
The people apathy is as good as. But what I like about Nigerian is they can talk, and they eventually talk to their roof that goes nowhere.
Yes, sir.
That's it. And they blame everybody except themselves. That's Nigerian system. That's what I've over time in my how many years of being around.
So I understand your pain, sir, because I'm also in the same passion. When we got is it Lerato, when they said one Fred Odogbo, the service manager of Ikeja Electric at Advocacy, went to lock up. It was during the lockdown. He sent one of his boy called Tony to go and be collecting money in a clandestine manner, and people approached him, young people that were at home. They said, "Who are you?" And he was hiding his ID card, and they ruffled him to take out the ID card from him. So he called a leader in the community who came and rescued him, only for him to go to the office and told Fred, and Fred came and put the whole community. He just did group disconnection. Both people that are prepaid, mass connection. The whole Lerato, almost how many communities? 7? Yes. 8 communities. 8 streets were in darkness, and the information went on radio. The information was on 5G FM. I think that was on the 30th of April or something. Information came on 5G FM, and a friend invited me to his house there, and the wife was talking around 10 p.m. I was in the house, and I told the wife, I said, we have to look for those boys this night. And when we went to them, we got to them in the night, we saw them somewhere, and they said, yeah, we're the one that approached Mr. Tony. And I said, okay, tomorrow we are bringing camera. Can you talk? They said, we will talk. Can you talk? They said, okay, all of you are talking now. Can you talk? So the next day we came, and we saw old men coming out. I was even afraid. I said, àwọn àgbàlagbà àwọn máa ń gbàbọ̀dé o, ṣọ́mà lè sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí, mi ò like camera on people you. And they say, we talk, we are ready, we talk. So by the time we set up our cameras, people started coming out from houses, and they were calling bills, how we disconnect them, how, the whole thing was like a protest. Almost 30 people spoke to our camera. We have to edit it. More than 30, almost 45 people, women, children, old men. And when we put on the video, Mr. Okoye started asking for our head that we have to drop it. They came and quickly connect the lights. The third day, the same men who have gone to Fred's office, he chased them away that he's going to pay all the money they are owing. So they went to report at Meron police station. But eventually Meron said they should go back. They went back. He didn't even see them. He delayed them for 2 hours. And when you go to Fred, he delays all these people, old people, for 2 hours. And when you see them, he just tell them, I don't have anything to say. He won't even tell you sit down. He will just be talking to you like a lord. So they now said we put on the video, and we said no. We told the landlord we don't owe you anything. We didn't collect any money from you. It was a free will protest, free will campaign. Then eventually other communities started calling us. I don't know, they got our numbers. Itesiwaju, Bajomo. In Itesiwaju there was a lot of things. So they even in Itesiwaju they bought a transformer 5.5 million, and they didn't 5.6 million, and they didn't install it. The transformer, they installed it after 1 year. It got blown after 2 months. Then they said they should contribute 1.1 million for Fred, and eventually they didn't answer them for 1 year. After our video, they brought an Aluku transformer. That one blew again after 4 days. They now said maybe they brought another one. I don't know. So sir, how do we, this kind of situation, how do we get out of it? I mean, because what you said now, that Nigerians, the kind of apathy, the kind of reclusive nature, the kind of what can I call it? It appears that how do we get them to fight their own cause and to get result? Because it appears that these service providers have taken them as just a piece of meat.
Well, what we could do from our own end is to enlighten them.
No, how do they get to you? Because one of the things they say we should ask you is how do they get to you? How do they get?
I'm telling you right now that I don't know anybody in Obosi, Anambra State, but they get to us. Do you understand? They go to us. We have been known I think individually, people that I attended to in a day at one point in time, I am more than MTN service, customer service. I'm not joking. I have to go and prepare a different line for the electricity people that will call, and to the glory of God, we attend to their needs as much as more or less advised, more or less giving them a kind of a tips of what the law says or what they can do to get their this thing. Like in the issue of capping, before I forget.
Yes, let's go to capping, sir. What is the capping? What's the policy all about? And because you said it's going to take on 20th of February.
Yeah.
And before we another news came out that they're going to increase by July, and we didn't know which one was. It was conflicting.
Okay.
And
increment of tariff and capping has no basis.
Okay.
They are a different ball game entirely.
Good.
The brain behind capping, because you said something the other time that what do we do to help people concerning estimated billing? Yes. We didn't put pressures on the discos. We put pressure on the NERC.
That's Nigerian Electrical Commission.
Let me give it to these present NERC executives. They indulge us a lot, and they don't have a choice anyway, because we know that they are answerable to the law.
Sorry, you are like a feedback organ.
Exactly, and that was one of the synergy we asked from them. Let us be your feedback. Your eyes cannot be everywhere. People even don't trust you. I told them it's in the letter. If I can get you a copy of the letter.
No, you don't need to tell me, sir, because this is the first time I'm meeting you. Before we came here, people have even told us that there's an amount of money that the discourse pays to NERC for NERC to be quiet. That's the perception. So for you,
I know what I wrote, what we wrote in the letter for the synergy with NERC, for the fact that we cannot deceive you. They don't know you. They don't know what's your job, what's your obligation. The people that may think they know you is the people on Twitter. And how many Tarakawas are on Twitter? How many those old men are on Twitter? The majority of the consumer don't know you. But they know us. We reach them. We talk to them. They talk to us. And that is the area we felt that you can benefit from, so that we can feed you. We can let you know what is going on, what the discos and other stakeholders are doing, in which make the noise too enormous for you to even have rest in your office. Because they said they don't have rest. Yes, you cannot have rest, because it is the name they will be mentioned. But they don't even know the work you are doing. Why? Because your work is not seen, your work is not known, your work is not felt. If you are not seen, you are not known, you are not felt, then you are not in existence.
And their office is in Abuja. So how many body can go to? How many?
They have offices, forums, offices.
Okay, forums in around. Okay, but the real
state, they have forum offices. Okay. Depends on how many discos that covers the area. Like Lagos now, Ikeja has the NERC forum office at CBD area there. Eco forum has their own in the street where Eco Electricity Distribution Company is in Lagos State there. There is only some clauses in the operational system of the forum. Okay. You understand? One of the clauses which I've taken up is that in the they call it settlement and consumer mechanisms of resolving issue is also a schedule under electricity consumer protection. Under electricity forum or power sectors act 2005. In one of the provisions, I think that's section 9 or section 10 subsection 1 of that, it says it is the discos that will provide the office for the forum staffers.
That is a very sad one, sir. That's very sad.
So that is the area I saw when I was going through, because I told you, I said I eat, I drink, and I digest all these laws as it relates to my job as the national coordinator of Electricity Consumer Protection Forum. That is why you cannot meet me by surprise. When you ask of anything that relate to this, I will tell you. It is for you to go and check it. In that schedule, it was stated that it is the discourse of that area that will provide accommodation for all the members of the NERC forum. So, by virtues of the law of nature, he who paid the pipe dictate the tone. Yes, that is the first thing that I consider as an error. That you want me to bring the matter of somebody that offended me to the office you created to adjudicate on my matter, and it is the same person that provide the office for me to, for the people I'm coming there to meet to use. Of course, except the person there are really a kind of a consumer friendly people. Angels. No, consumer friendly, because if somebody like me or anybody from out that is there, I don't care whether you are the one that even buy the whole house. You understand my point? So, but I look at it as there is no way that there will be no conflict of interest, so to say, because the person that provided, if the forum keep on giving judgment, giving directive that is against the disco that we brought before them, at the end of the day, by the next renewal of the office, they will tell you they don't have money now. Do you understand? Even though it is an act provision, they will tell you they don't have money now. You understand my point? So that is the area where I find it difficult, that it will be very hard for people, and I've had occasion that people will even get judgment there and the disco will not implement it. Yes, we have brought some into this office to our group and say we got judgment to see so thing, but this disco failed to implement it. That disco failed to implement it. That disco failed to implement it. And what I will always advise them is that go back to the forum and let the forum know that the judgment they passed, they have not been obeyed. Because in the provisions of consumer settlement and mechanism for intervention, it is stated that if you are not satisfied, either it is consumer or the disco, you can appeal to NERC to review whatever judgment they give at the forum. Are you getting my point? So I will ask whether they have written to the NERC at Abuja to know whether that thing is not, they are not satisfied, so that it will subject to review. But some of the time they will not even write any appeal. The only thing they discover that the disco will not obey that thing. So those are the areas where problems lies. The NERC forum are active, but being active is different from being successful. Yes, when somebody is active, you can also be effective but being successful. Once people are not feeling the effect of your activism, it doesn't amount to anything. That is why some of the time when I have issue or some of the group member come with this thing, the first thing I do is to copy NERC Abuja. Sometimes Dr. Moses Arigu will say, Oga Sam, but have these people go to the forum? I will tell them going to the forum is more or less like a waste of time. The law says that when you send something to the forum, within 15 days, you must be replied. In fact, within 3 days, the secretary must acknowledge the receipt of your letter. Then within 15 days, you must have been able to know when your matter will be taken up. But many people have filed at the forum 6 months, 3 months, they wait and wait, they did not receive anything. So, and I will say that these things are becoming frustrating, and I will not want a situation whereby these people will take laws into their hand. That's why I quickly have to forward it to you. So you understand? Sometimes he will attend to it, they will say, Sam, you know, even we are going to do it, but let them first of all say and forward to NERC forum in their area. What I am saying is that as effective as the mechanism put on ground could have been, Nigerians have entered.